Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we're going to be breaching on the topic of 3v3. Playcott have allowed us to start testing 3v3 in the test server. We are able to stream this on Fridays now, so we are starting to create a very basic guide to how 3v3 is going to be played out in clan wars or clan battles or whatever you want to call it. And it became very evident that there are some standout teams already. Now, there may be ways to beat this. We did test for about 2 hours, and there weren't many solutions. But as we progress, as we find things out, hopefully we can discover things. Now, 3v3 is absolutely going to change the meta of the game when you take into consideration only 3v3. So far, the strongest team we have found is Blade, Yuki, and Willow. Now, you're probably wondering, are you ever going to actually use this team in 3v3 due to the fact that the Assassins, for example, have a fully established squad with 5 characters. You can throw in your Captain John and your Ash, and you have a very powerful 5 squad. Same with the Chaos Spawn on the screen. You know, if you throw in Superior and Luxurious, you have a very powerful squad as well. Truth be told, 3v3 is probably going to be one of the most important battle, I want to say, objectives on the map. I forget what they're called, the prisms, the buff, debuff attribute that is added to the gate protecting your final base. Those are added due to the prism nodes on the field. There are 2 of them, and those prisms consist only of 3v3 battles. So they are probably one of the more important structures you are going to want to protect. So there may be benefit into breaking down these fully established 5 squads to make a 3 squad. Now, this 3 squad here of the Assassins, if I had to rate the strength of this squad versus the squad made of 5 Assassins, this squad is ridiculously more powerful than its 5 version counterpart. So even though you may be taking away 2 important characters, and it's not that bad having to remove 2, you're probably thinking, where am I going to use them? But you are going to use them. That's the point. This is a very powerful squad. There may be more benefit into using this over the 5 counterpart. Now, we'll go into a quick battle. I'll show you how this team works and why it is so powerful. And then we'll talk about why it may be worth using this as a 3 squad. And this will be the same for any other faction in the game. We still need to do research. In the 2 hours we tested, I only ever got to test about 4 or 5 squads. There's a lot of testing that needs to be done. So, why is this squad so powerful? Number 1, the biggest problem the Assassins have is their weakness, Yuki. If Yuki is eliminated before she gets a turn, it's pretty much game over for the Assassins. But you throw this squad into clan wars or clan battles, and you just simply look at, I believe it's his leadership ability, or his passive, maybe his leadership. Where was it? Here it is. In clan battles, the damage reduction of hit list enemies to allied rogues and assassins is increased by 70%. So, when you consider that Yuki is already giving a 70% damage reduction to her allies, which is pretty good, but remember, it doesn't apply to herself. And then you use this team, what happens at the very start of the battle? Blade goes before everyone else. He does this because Willow allows him to do so. So if we go ahead and cast our Threats and Blackmail, which is typically not an ability I would suggest using in 5v5, because it applies 3 hit list marks to the enemy, but the hit list application is completely random. You do not control who the hit list goes on, which is a big deal. But when you're in a 3v3 setting, there are only 3 options it can be applied to. So you apply this, boom, boom, boom. Does it hit everyone? It should. There we go. Oh, I missed. That's fine. But now you already consider that Yuki is now taking 70% less damage from these two characters. You get all three, Yuki's not dying. She's not dying before she gets her first turn. This team has already gained such a massive advantage. Now, you consider that Blade now gets a second turn immediately. I just have to use my basic attack, and we've got the third mark. Now, this team is so powerful. I can do whatever I want. You consider, now remember, this is Clan Wars. The Chaos Spawn do not have the benefits of their super strength through their awakenings in this mode of the game. That only applies to Arena and Tournament. But when you consider that they are still a very powerful squad, like, look how easily we were able to dismantle them. Now, in our testing, we were still able to assess the Chaos Spawn, and we did realize that they are one of the top teams to use. They are extremely powerful. But I'm showing you how the dynamics of a team. Now, mind you, Blade does gain bonuses in this game mode, but I'm just showing you how the dynamics of a team can completely change in the 3v3 situation. Even if Blade didn't apply the 70% damage reduction on hit list targets, hit list alone still does a lot of stuff to the enemy, and when you're guaranteed to get it on every enemy, it's a huge advantage to your team. We need to start realizing what characters are most suitable for 3v3. You need to understand that there are a lot of characters in the game that benefit from working with a full faction. You know, there are characters that have abilities where the benefits of that ability are 20% times the number of characters on their team from the same faction, giving them a 100% chance when playing with a full faction. When you go into 3v3 and you use that hero, that 100% is now 60%. That is a big gamble using that ability now. That's a lot of strength from an ability that's going to be stripped away. Now, the last part I wanted to mention before we end this video, I know it's a quick video, but like I said, there's still lots of testing we need to do, and we're going to start sharing the information, hopefully start preparing clans for the Clan Wars to come. You're probably wondering, what about the fact that we are taking away 2 characters from this faction? Well, there are more than 2 characters. We're not using Demetria, we're not using Ash, we're not using Captain John. Those characters aren't necessarily powerful in any other faction. They don't have now the strength of their leader. They don't have the strength of the Yuki protecting them from damage. But we also now need to consider that there's 6v6 as well. And in 6v6, you need to use 1 hero per faction. You cannot use multiple heroes from the same faction. You can't use a full team of, 6 assassins, because each hero needs to be from a different faction. So even though we are losing the strength of the full 5 team, we are gaining a huge amount of strength in the 3s, and we're also giving ourselves access to a powerful hero that we can still utilize in 6s. If we used all our powerful squads in 5v5, we would not have many characters to use in 6v6. It would be the absolute scraps. 5v5 is almost the negligible side of Clan Wars, I want to say, and that is saying it without actually having tested it yet. There is still a lot of points to be made in 5v5, but the most important structures are the 3v3 structures and your castle, which is 6v6. Having access to a Captain John, for example, in 6v6, that's a huge advantage. Having such a good character that can heal, deal damage, revive himself with his it's not sacrificial, bloody offerings. So yeah, you got to realize, don't look at this as using or dismantling a powerful 5v5 team. Look at it as gaining access to a powerful 3v3 team, while also giving yourself access to great heroes you're going to be able to use in 6v6. And like I said, 6v6 is going to be where a lot of the points in Clan Wars can be earned. So, if I used this team, for example, in 3v3, and I also used my Chaos Spawn in a 3v3 situation, I would have access to Captain John. I also would have access to Luxuria. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head if Luxuria's abilities are percentage based off characters from the Chaos Spawn, but if they're not, then boom, I've got 2 really good heroes I can combine to use in a 6v6. Throw a hero like Arcane in leadership, who, when awakened, applies her leadership abilities to all characters, doesn't matter their faction, then I'm starting to create a really powerful 6v6 team that the enemy is going to have to deal with in some way. So keep that in mind. This is now the best time to start suggesting what you believe would be a good squad. This is the time, well, you can keep it secret if you want. I mean, there's going to be a lot of strength in keeping secrets. This is a new game mode. You want your clan to do well. However, once the game mode does start, the information will start spreading. So completely up to you. I am very much against keeping secrets. I can't help it. I like to share. I like to let people know that they're, the heroes they've put time and effort into, sometimes even money, that they're going to be usable in some way. So if you want to keep a secret, don't tell it to me, because I'm going to have the very, very big itch to just spread that secret. If you come to me telling me there's something going on in your family and, your dad's got some disease and you're struggling, I'm not going to make an Age of Magic video about it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, if you come to me with an Age of Magic secret, you'll give me a pretty big itch. I'll respect your wish to keep it a secret if you want me to, but don't do that to me, okay? I won't sleep well at night. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability and wherever you're around the world. Until next time, please take care of yourself.